All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today for our next series in the AAIS Webinar Series. We're very happy to introduce our partners at BriteCore, Tricia Pattee and Chelsea Ux. We've been working with them very closely over the last several years around a very important and near and dear topic to my heart, which is product configuration. Talking today about being able to manage your product configuration, be able to stay competitive. At AAIS, we're certainly also very interested in helping you maintain compliance and all of the other features, as well as new coverages and the ability for you to customize on top of these configurations for your benefit. Again, really excited to welcome Tricia and Chelsea to talk about how BriteCore is enabling that to happen, and I will hand it over to you.
Hello, and welcome to Leveraging Product Configuration for Competitive Advantage. My name is Tricia Pattee. I'm a Director of Product at BriteCore, a company which builds modern, web-based core systems for insurance carriers. BriteCore offers a full suite of products to P&C insurance providers. I've been in product management for over 10 years now and working for software companies for more than 15. I currently lead 5 teams at BriteCore, all covering products that provide configuration capabilities within our software. Before diving in today, I'd like to thank AAIS for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm excited to talk with you about some of the opportunities available through product configuration. Today I'll be covering the following topics: insurance product configuration, what it is, who does it, and how it is done. Then I'll talk about how we can use technology to leverage complex tasks that are a part of product configuration. I'll cover how this can be used to increase the speed of implementing new products as well as product updates, and in turn, decrease our time to market. So why are we talking about product configuration today? Insurance products can be your key differentiator from their competition. Making sure that your products are configurable allows you to offer more options to your customers. You can provide more customized solutions and expand into new markets more easily when you aren't restricted by hard definitions and rules. There are great examples of insurers who leverage product configuration strategically today. Many auto carriers today are reducing their premiums during the COVID-19 outbreak to provide better customer service since their policyholders aren't driving as much. This thoughtfulness helps improve customer loyalty and retention. Enabling this change requires product configuration and being able to quickly and easily create discount coverages. In addition, a few years ago, pay-by-the-minute scooters exploded into the marketplace. Insurers raced to insure these scooters and the customers who use them. These are just 2 small examples, but the options for new market expansion and improved customer experience are vast. Let's start with discussing insurance products. When you hear me say insurance products in this presentation, I'll be referring to your product offerings in the form of the lines of business you support. If those are the products we're discussing, then what is product configuration? In their glossary, industry analyst Gartner defines product configuration as the development of insurance products, including pricing, product modeling, and testing. At a high level, product configuration includes data modeling, rating, business rules, and documents and forms. These 4 key concepts can make up excellent and efficient configuration when paired with robust technology. Let's briefly dive into those 4 categories. Then we'll talk about how we can leverage technology to improve each category. First is data modeling. Data modeling involves defining a few different things, starting with the types of risk you insure. This includes things like vehicles or drivers for personal auto products, or homeowners and homes for a homeowner's product. The data fields you collect in order to rate and make decisions also need to be defined. This includes simple data fields like first and last name, or make and model of a vehicle. It can also include fields that you use to rate, such as the model year for a car, or the average distance to a fire hydrant for a home. Finally, you need to define the coverages you insure, such as bodily injury or coverage A. It's important to have flexible data modeling so that you can quickly adapt data fields collected during quoting or add new coverages. Next up is rating configuration. Rating configuration includes 2 primary entities: rate tables, which map fields to premiums or factors, and calculations, which are the formulas and logic to determine a premium. Together, rate tables and calculations determine how your product will be priced. Easy to modify rate and calculation tools are vital to make sure that you can tweak your rates over time. We also need to configure business rules. There are 3 types of rules that we'll configure on our product. Underwriting rules, which determine if a quote should be submitted to underwriting or rejected altogether. For example, if felony field has answer yes, then reject the quote. Validation rules, which determine if a quote is valid. For example, when date of birth is less than 16 years old, then show a validation error message. And behavior rules, which determine the behavior of the system, such as when the date of birth is greater than 25-year-old, then hide the good student discount field. When business rules are thoughtfully crafted, they can save your underwriters and agents time by allowing them to focus on the new business that best fits your company. Finally, we must configure documents and forms. This consists of configuring the templates that are used to generate policy documents like declarations and notice of cancellation. It also includes configuring templates for the corresponding forms that are included when certain coverages or exclusions apply. When you can make these 4 areas of your product configurable, you can offer more options to your customers and expand your business more easily. Let's talk more about how we can achieve that. As you already know, insurance products are complex. Complex product configuration impacts your ability to respond to the market quickly. One of BriteCore's goals is to empower insurers with a user-friendly, comprehensive toolset to make product configuration easier. This is what a product roadmap looks like for new insurance products. First, a carrier has an idea of a new market they'd like to enter. Then they plan to enter that market by defining which product they are going to offer and which states they're going to write business. Next, they configure the product with all of the different pieces that we just talked about. When they're finished configuring and testing the product, they release it to those different states. And finally, they monitor the success of their product and make tweaks from there. As you can see, the configure step is the longest step in the product lifecycle. And this is what we want to use software to do. We want to shrink that configuration segment so that we can execute on our ideas more quickly. This is where rapid product development comes in, which is leveraging technology to increase speed of configuring insurance products and decreasing time to market. So what do we get if we can shorten the time it takes to configure our products? First, we can get ahead of the competition and expand into new markets or territories more quickly. We have the opportunity to experiment without significantly impacting timelines. Rapid product development can make meeting compliance regulations easier, and basically, we can be more adaptable. There are 6 main strategies for rapid product development: user-friendly interfaces, inheritance, versioning, rate testing, templates, and composition. Let's dive into more detail on each of these. We'll start with user-friendly user interfaces. For anyone who is unfamiliar, a user interface, or UI, is what you see when you're using software. A UI with low visibility can introduce risk for human error or be very time-consuming due to confusing or inefficient workflows. User interfaces should have high usability, allowing you to perform tasks safely, effectively, and efficiently, preferably while enjoying using the software. A product configuration system can support all the features in the world, but if users can't use the software or configure safely, effectively, and efficiently, then we won't see that competitive advantage we're looking for. I spoke with a product configuration analyst at one carrier, and they told me that they have to speak with their IT department each time they'd like to add a new data point. If I boil it down into a single sentence, you shouldn't have to rely on programmers to make product changes. In one study, the Nielsen-Norman Group found that improving the usability of web projects resulted in a 161% increase in user performance and productivity. In another study, they found that intranets with good usability cost $7.5 million per year to operate, opposed to intranets with poor usability, which cost $12.9 million per year. I'm now going to provide a quick demo of adding a new data field to an insurance product in what I think is a great user interface. The interface was thoughtfully designed and tested with the goal of empowering users to perform tasks themselves quickly and safely. Let's say we want to add a data field in order to collect the purchase price of the vehicle. I enter the label, then select the type of field it is. There are optional fields based on the field type selected, and I can set a default value. There are also settings that allow me to indicate whether the field should always be shown or if it's required. You can see that that took me less than 30 seconds to complete, and now I can start using that data field for my product. Let's recap the first strategy for rapid product development. A user-friendly interface allows the user to perform tasks safely, effectively, and efficiently. It also empowers users to make even complex changes that may have otherwise required an engineer. And all of this increases productivity and decreases costs. Our second strategy is inheritance. Inheritance is a way of making it easier to create new products that are similar to existing products or to make the same change across multiple states. Inheritance can help speed up the time to configure your products. It is designed to mimic real-world rating manuals. In my examples, I'm going to talk about a country-level parent product that informs child products in different states. They can be at any level you want, though. It could be by zip code or county. This graphic shows how you can define shared risk types at the parent level and have them inherited in other products at the state level. This allows you to easily make changes that apply to all the other states you write in, and then you can segment each product by rating variables. With an auto product, for example, you may define these fields and coverages at the countrywide level. But then in Texas, you want to add new fields just to that state. You could do the same with Pennsylvania, but with different fields than what you did in Texas. And then if you need to add something to all states, you would go back up to the countrywide level and they would be inherited down. Inheritance can be used for metrics other than just location, though. In this example, you can inherit by coverage forms to define additional coverages. Additionally, you can have multiple levels of depth and inherit by state, then inherit by market segment. Inheritance offers several benefits. It allows content analysts the ability to create common and shared product definitions. We can eliminate repetition so you don't have to create similar products over and over. By doing that, we're able to reduce the risk of human error and make mass changes across multiple states at once. This is a screenshot of how data fields are inherited between children and parent products. The new purchase price field was created under the countrywide product, and when viewing it in the Missouri child product, there is an indicator that it was inherited. In summary, inheritance allows you to define common configurations that can be shared with child products. This removes repetition and reduces the opportunity for errors. A common use case for this is when you need to make a change across all 50 states. The next strategy that we'll cover is versioning. Versioning addresses the pain points of changing your products. Are your products going to remain accurate after you've made a change to just one item? Do you avoid making changes frequently because they can't be done quickly and require a long time to process? When making product changes, they should be safe and not break anything. You should be able to make changes with confidence, knowing that rates are still accurate and policies will migrate properly. Your changes should be minimal, where new versions are created only for the products that you've changed. And they should be fast. It shouldn't take hours to save a new version of your product. Now I'll show you how easy it is to create a new version of a product in bright lines and how multiple versions appear. Here I already have a published initial version. I would click Create New Version if I didn't want my changes applied to the current version. I can name it whatever I want, then select the effective date of when we intend to use it, and provide a description. After saving, the new version is in draft status. I have the options to edit, lock, publish, and archive. Here, I can easily publish the new version and view all versions in one place. By being able to create versions so quickly, I can experiment with changes to my current product or prepare for upcoming changes effectively. Applying a strategy around versioning allows us to be confident that our changes are not going to break anything. It helps us avoid saving new versions of all of our products when changes may have only been made in one, which speeds things up and allows us to use new versions right away. Our fourth strategy is rate testing. As I mentioned with versioning, Changes to a product introduce risk and require validation of how they will impact quoting and premium. We want our changes to be safe and feel confident that they will not introduce errors. Rate testing offers the ability to test premiums immediately after a change was made. You can set up testing scenarios that can be run repeatedly as you continue to make changes, providing immediate feedback. Rate testing is all about enabling you to test changes quickly and know that the changes that you are making aren't going to break anything. For example, if you create 100 testing scenarios, then make some rate changes or add fields, you can run them and quickly confirm that rates weren't impacted without having to manually test 100 scenarios yourself. I'll show you how we can make a change to a calculation and immediately see how it impacts the coverage's premium and rate preview. Let's say I want to make a change to our emergency road service coverage item. I click on that item, and let's change the flat fee premium from $150 to $200. Now I can go to preview rates and use one of my existing testing scenarios. When I go into vehicle risk, I can see that my premium has been updated to $200 for this item. This is a very simple use case, but shows how I can immediately test and validate any changes that were just made to my product. It's a great example of how having tens or even hundreds of scenarios that can be run against multiple versions can save you time in having to manually create those. A rate testing strategy gives us a way to immediately validate our changes without having to manually test and retest common scenarios. It saves us time and helps us to safely implement changes without the risk of introducing errors that could impact quoting and premiums. Our fifth strategy for rapid product development is using product templates. We have learned that various insurance carriers often have similar definitions for a line of business. They may have similar risk types or fields that are specific to that line of business. They may have similar coverages available. When that's the case, we should use product templates versus having each carrier build products for that line of business. Product templates can represent entire product definitions, including rating logic. By utilizing product templates, we can implement products more quickly. It's much easier and faster to only configure your unique items versus creating them from scratch. This also enables easier testing. For example, we could utilize a template and import it to a test site for immediate use. If you were to configure the products to your specific needs in that test site, we could then download the template and import it into a production site to avoid having to reconfigure anything in production. In addition to exporting and importing products within BriteCore, we can load products from rating bureaus like AAIS. Once we have it imported, carriers can inherit the product details and customize as needed. Utilizing product templates helps us to achieve quicker implementations, easier testing, and faster conversions to production. This is yet another strategy that contributes to decreasing cost and effort while increasing the speed to bring products to market. Our last strategy for rapid product development is composition. Composition addresses similar pain points as inheritance. If you have several documents with the same information in various sections, such as the header and footer, that change needs to be made across the entire document library. Having to manually manage when documents get updated and who handles the updates and version control requires organization and some sort of change management process. Additionally, changing out images or sections of a document may require design expertise in order to avoid formatting issues. All of these slow down your ability to make adjustments quickly and effectively. Applying a strategy around composition allows you to build something up from smaller pieces. Not only does this help break down large and complex items, but you can create templates that utilize the smaller parts from a single source. Document sections like header and footer and standard information can be pulled in automatically rather than being added to each document individually. Here's an example of applying a composition strategy by using a template library. The template library includes various components. Composition is determining which components should be used when creating document templates. So for example, confirmation of cancellation may use these components in this layout, and then that template gets shipped. Or using different components in different pieces to build a payment schedule that then gets shipped. You can use the same components in different ways for the various templates that are used. If you need to change your logo or update the address in your footer, you can do it in one place and it will be updated on all of the templates that use that component. Similar to inheritance, composition allows you to reduce repetition, reuse templates, and make mass changes at once. I'm going to show you a demo of how we use composition to manage document templates in BriteCore. You can see here that the old BriteCore logo is currently displayed on the graphics image. To update that to our current logo, I click Upload, then select the file that I'd like to use. Immediately, the image is updated on this page. Now I can scroll down to look at any of my document templates. When I click on Edit, I can look at one of them and select Preview. I can now see that the header was updated with my new logo. Other examples of how we use composition is to update header information with address or contact information changes, or changing a signature block to use on various document templates. To recap, composition saves you time and effort to manage large or complex items that can be built with reusable parts. It enables your ability to make adjustments quickly and effectively. Applying these 6 strategies will allow you to increase speed of configuring insurance products and decreasing time to market by leveraging technology. In summary, when we can shorten the time it takes to configure products, we can get ahead of the competition and expand into new markets or territories more quickly. We have the opportunity to experiment without significantly impacting timelines. We can meet compliance regulations more easily, and we are more adaptable. I hope these tips and suggestions are helpful, and I cannot wait to see the ways that you leverage product configuration to launch new products and coverages to delight your customers. Thank you for tuning in to the presentation today, and thank you again to AAIS for putting this webinar together.
Great. Well, that concludes the video portion of our webinar today, and then we'll open it up for questions, and we do have one in the queue. For Tricia and Chelsea, question is, currently it can take us weeks or even months to add data fields or expand into another state. Do you have any suggestions for how we can leverage technology to launch products more quickly?
Yeah, I can take this one. We definitely hear this a lot. Speed to market is one of the biggest pain points that we typically hear when talking to new clients or implementing new clients. And essentially it comes down to just weighing your pros and your cons. So the best place that we recommend you start when considering how to decrease your speed to market is to first look at the potential opportunity that will be available with the product change that you have in mind. So for example, will it unlock a new market? Will it increase your premium? Will it increase the number of optional coverages that a policyholder would select? And then next, it's worth considering what that opportunity would look like if you try to create it in your current system. So does your product model even support the changes that you're looking to make? Will you have to manually make that change across all states and counties that you operate in? How long will it take you to make that change? And will it cost a significant amount if you have to wait for an engineer or a vendor to make that change on your behalf? So once you look at those options, it really comes down to what opportunities will you lose if you wait to make that change or if you don't make it at all? What opportunities does it bring you forward if you do invest in doing that? And how does that compare to implementing a new, more flexible system if your current system doesn't currently support those changes and those opportunities?
Great, thanks. And I think that speaks to the next question, really is around the product configuration, really is often strategic times and a strategic change, and which markets, and how do you know in order to make that change, which markets do you expand into and where do you go? If you've got that configuration, how do you can leverage it, before you get into a market to help you figure out. So do you have any recommendations that you can keep a pulse of those types of trends and opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. There are many resources available for you to keep a pulse on those trends. Of course, industry events like this one are a great way to talk with colleagues and other insurers and vendors to see presentations on what's new. We have conversations with industry analysts like Novarica, Gartner, and SMA that we find very helpful when we're trying to decide what opportunities and how we can support our clients more effectively. And then I also enjoy reading Novarica's research in particular for their industry trends. They regularly publish reports on how new technologies and business trends with supporting research of what percentage of carriers have adopted it or are considering to adopt those. So you can see kind of what the mix looks like in terms of proof points, I guess, in that research. Of course, everyone has their favorite news site as well. My personal favorite is Property Casualty 360, but there are many great resources out there.
And if I can chime in just a little bit there, AAIS is here to help that exploration as well. And certainly our product teams are looking towards the next version of those programs and exploring a lot of the same considerations our members are facing, both in, taking a new product out the door, as well as the changes that are happening to that configuration, of course, from a regulatory as well as a claims experience. So, and this is, a great partnership in working with BriteCore is to figure out how those things actually apply and look at what the, kind of the pro forma analysis of a product configuration and how that might look. And we're helping to give those configurations such that you can more easily make some of those strategic decisions based on a configuration that doesn't necessarily exist yet. So we want to get you to that rough cut of what it might look like if you took this product into this state with this market. And what if it was successful? What's the minimum amount you would need to be successful? Things like that, and answer those questions earlier. So we're really excited to be able to make that easier and not a really difficult activity just to answer the first question or get to that first dollar of premium. So thank you. Got another question coming up. The user interface. In your experience, what makes a good user interface? How do we ensure a good user experience while fulfilling the other speed to market goals?
Yeah, we do a lot of research when it comes to user interface and user experience in general. We have a highly experienced design team that we lean on when we're looking at making changes to workflows and just general page layouts and designs. Someone from that team can certainly speak more intelligently about our approach to those things, but ultimately we're looking for a user interface that is intuitive, that a user can, very easily figure out what the next step is without having to, click around or make a few mistakes or create errors before they can accomplish what they're trying to do. So something that has an obvious, a very simple and streamlined workflow that gets them to accomplish whatever task at hand is quickly, so that they're not spending time, confused on what they're supposed to be doing or having to go back and forth in order to configure a product.
Yeah, we look at that a lot at AAIS as well, and all the different types of users that would look at a product configuration or a rating solution for all those different reasons and what that experience should be. So it's intuitive if they're trying to start up a new product or optimize one for a market or get into that next market. Those are all different reasons to use the same tools at the end of the day, and then when you talk about operationalizing it, is it a claims experience? Is it a new business experience? All those different sorts of things and how those interfaces become more intuitive. And again, that's where, where we can solve a lot of different things with a single feature in a different presentation. So we're really excited about doing that and more of those types of, full function sorts of solutions that are within, within a platform like BriteCore, BriteLines. We have another question. What's the biggest lesson learned from your time in product management? What advice do you have for someone just starting out using the principles that you mentioned? Good question.
Perfect. I can start off with this one, and then Chelsea, if you have anything to add on, you can. As I mentioned, I've been in product for about 10 years now, so several lessons learned along the way, especially hopping from multiple industries. But I'd say the biggest lesson learned is, and that you continuously learn, is to make sure that you always have that interaction with customers and prospects, that we are not only running, our roadmap by them, but that we're also, figuring out what their pain points are. We can go and we can, develop this beautiful product that has these particular workflows and that we think solves all the problems. But if we don't start with what the pain points that our customers are facing and the changes that they're looking for, then, the product isn't going to be very useful. So certainly keeping your ear to the ground, keeping that customer interaction up to date, but also focusing on the pain points and not necessarily what we think the solutions are in order to move forward. Chelsea, anything that you'd add specific to your time at BriteCore?
Yeah, I don't think, I guess I'd piggyback a little off of that, just saying from the product development perspective, you know, we want to make sure that we're talking with our users and finding out what matters to them. If we develop this great feature, but it's not what they need or want, then there's no point in doing it. So it can be easy to get stuck on things that we think are cool or new technology, but if it's not adding value for our users, then there's really no point. So being in tune with that is really one of the most important things.
And I think, again, this is something that our partnership really lends itself to. We certainly work together in detail, and we try and work with our members who are on this call to understand what their challenges are, what it is they're trying to do with that product. Are they trying to, you know, make a major version change? Are they trying to stay compliant with that new that new rule? Are they trying to go after a new market? And I would just encourage all the folks on the call to reach out to BriteCore, to AAIS, and we can help you put these technologies and these capabilities in your context and what it really means for your organization, where you are with respect to technology, resources that you have or don't have, and really, you know, my advice to the question is, where do you want to go as a company, looking at it as an insurer, leveraging this technology? Where do you want to go? You know, what is it the goal? What are you trying to deliver to your customer? And is that a segment or a policyholder, or again, to your point, Tricia, what's the pain that you're trying to stop? So please reach out. We're a community. We're all trying to make this better. So we really appreciate BriteCore with this presentation here. I don't think we have any further questions. If you want to use the chat to drop one in there real quick, we can handle it. Otherwise, I think we are approaching the end of our time here this afternoon. Chelsea and Tricia, if you want to have any last words as we close it up, see if there's any other questions to come in. I will give you the last word.
No, we just really appreciate the opportunity to help out and support the partnership that we have with you all, and help your audience however we can. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks very much. And please feel free to reach out and have a wonderful day.